My name is Chioma Daniels, and if anyone had told me that a simple wig could change the course of my life, I would have laughed them off. But now, even laughter feels like a sin. It started on a quiet Thursday evening in Yaba, just before the first rain of April. You know that kind of heat Lagos brings, when it's tired of pretending, when the air feels thick with something unsaid. That night, I was sitting by my window, untangling my favorite human hair wig, the one Ada had been begging to borrow for weeks. Ada. The name alone still tastes like guilt on my tongue. She was my friend, or so I thought. We met 3 years ago at a church youth program. She had this laughter that filled a room and a way of holding your arm when she talked, like she wanted to anchor you in her world. She was the kind of woman you never forgot after the first meeting. But Ada also had secrets. The first time I noticed, it was at my birthday party. She came late, smiling too brightly, wearing a gold chain that glimmered oddly under the light. I had never seen her wear jewelry before. That night, while we were dancing, I caught her reflection in the mirror, and for a second, her face didn't match her body's movements. It was almost like a glitch. I blinked, and it was gone. I laughed it off then, blaming the flickering bulb. But now I wonder. That Thursday, she came knocking. "Chioma, a bag, open, na mio!" Her voice carried that mix of laughter and command. I opened the door, and there she stood, her perfume announcing her before her smile did. She hugged me like nothing could go wrong in the world. "Chichi, you know that wig you did always rock for Sunday service, the one we did bounce?" she asked, widening her eyes playfully. I laughed. "You mean my glory? You done come again, Abi?" She clasped her hands together like a child. "A beg na, just one weekend. I want yous on for burial. My cousin de marry an Epe, and I can't go like this." I looked at her hair, neatly braided. There was no reason she needed my wig, but Ada was persuasive in ways words can't explain. She had a tone that disarmed you. "All right," I said finally, "but you'll return it by Monday, Ada, please." She squealed, hugged me again, and promised like people do when they don't mean it. That was the last time I saw my wig. For the next week, I called, texted, even stopped by her street in Iwaya, but her landlady said she hadn't been around. "She travels small," she said, chewing gum and fanning herself. "But she no tell me where she go. She just pack small bag komot." That was unlike Ada. She was loud, social, always online. Her WhatsApp was suddenly blank. No profile photo, no status updates. I tried to shrug it off, but something inside me, something old, like instinct, refused to rest. And then the dreams started. The first one came on a humid Tuesday night in Kuma. I was in my room wearing that same wig. The mirror on my dresser was foggy, but behind my reflection, I could see Ada, standing there, smiling. Only her smile was wrong, too wide. When I turned in the dream, she wasn't there, but the smell of her perfume, midnight bloom, filled the air. I woke up gasping, drenched in sweat. For the next few nights, it happened again. Sometimes she was just staring, other times whispering something I couldn't hear. Once, I swear she mouthed, "You took what's mine." I began to dread sleep. Then on the 12th day after she borrowed the wig, I heard the news. Ada was dead.
She had died mysteriously at a party in Ikorodu, collapsed suddenly. No one knew why. I froze when her cousin told me on the phone. "She just fall down, Chioma. Doctor say na heart attack, but I da no get heart problem. Something dey strange." I didn't even cry. I just sat there, phone pressed against my ear, the world muted. My mind wasn't on her death, it was on the wig. Because when Ada died, she still had it. 3 days later, I attended her wakekeeping at a small church hall off Ojuelegba Road. The hall smelled like old flowers and candle wax. People whispered, others cried. When I approached the coffin, I stopped breathing. There she was, Ada, lying still, peaceful, her hands folded over her chest, and there it was, my wig, styled exactly how I used to wear it. I gripped the edge of the coffin so tightly my nails dug into the wood. Someone whispered beside me, "She looks so beautiful, doesn't she?" But I wasn't listening. I was staring at something else, at the faint movement of her eyelids. Just a flicker, like she was about to wake up. I stumbled out of the hall, my chest tightening, my ears ringing with a low hum. No one else had seen it. Maybe it was grief or fear or both. But that night, when I closed my eyes, I saw Ada again, wearing that wig, walking toward me through fog. And she was holding something. My mirror. The dreams got worse. Objects in my room started to move slightly. My wig stand fell one night, and the air suddenly smelled of her perfume again. Then one evening, as I was preparing for work, my neighbor Ifeoma knocked on my door. "Chioma, abeg, who you give your spare key?" I frowned. "Nobody. Why?" "Because I swear I saw person enter your room this afternoon when you no dey. Woman wey wear your wig." I even greet her. She no answer. That was the night I realized Ada had come back, but not the way anyone would imagine. The night Ifeoma told me she saw a woman wearing my wig enter my flat, I didn't sleep. The words replayed in my head like a song I couldn't turn off. "Woman wey wear your wig." I even greet her. She no answer. I stayed up till dawn, every sound making my skin tighten. The generator hum from the compound next door, the faint cry of a cat, even the tap leaking in my kitchen, everything felt like a whisper from something unseen. When morning came, I tried to shake it off. Maybe Ifeoma had seen wrong. Maybe it was one of the compound kids playing pranks. Lagos has a way of twisting your mind when fear enters it. But when I walked into my room that morning, my heart dropped. The wig stand I kept by my dresser was standing upright again. The wig, my wig, was back on it. Perfectly brushed, perfectly centered, and it smelled like Ada's perfume. I froze, my mouth dry. I had packed that stand in my wardrobe weeks ago, unable to look at it since the wakekeeping. I hadn't touched it. Nobody else had a key. I whispered to myself, "Chioma, calm down. Maybe you brought it out and forgot." But deep down, I knew I hadn't. That evening, I sat in front of the mirror just staring at the wig. Something about it felt alive. The strands moved slightly in the still air, like breathing. I reached out slowly and touched it, cold.
Then my reflection blinked. But I didn't. I jumped back, my heart hammering. For a second, Ada's face had flickered over mine in the mirror, faint, sad, and distant. I whispered, "Ada?" The mirror fogged up, though there was no steam in the room. And in that fog, a word appeared, traced as if by an invisible hand. "Return it." I screamed and stumbled backward. When I looked again, the fog was gone. My reflection looked normal. For the first time since Ada's death, I locked my bedroom door at night. I called her cousin Titi the next day. "Titi, please don't think I'm crazy, but Are you sure Ada was buried properly? She hesitated. Why? I swallowed. Did they bury her with my wig? She sighed. Chioma, I don't know. Her mother insisted she should look beautiful before God, so they dressed her up. You know Ada always loved fine things. Why? Nothing, I lied. I just wanted to know. But my hands were shaking. Later that week, I began to notice things moving around my flat. The mirror facing my bed tilted slightly every morning. My bedsheet would be warm on one side, like someone had just been lying there. I stopped inviting people over. Even my mother's calls became difficult. Chioma, your voice sounds weak. Are you fasting? I almost laughed. If only she knew. One evening, on my way home from work, I saw something that made my blood run cold. A woman was standing by the junction near Tejuoso Market, back turned, wearing a long black dress. Her hair, my wig, bounced exactly the way I used to wear it. For a moment, I thought it was just someone else. Then she turned slightly, and I saw the side of her face. Ada. I blinked, and she was gone, just gone. The people around me kept walking, chatting, selling suya. No one else seemed to notice. I ran home shaking. That night, I couldn't sleep again. So I prayed, or at least tried to. God, whatever this is, please deliver me. I didn't do anything wrong. The power went out mid-prayer. Silence filled the room. Then softly, a voice whispered from the mirror, "You kept what's mine." The wig rustled. I screamed and tore it off the stand, flinging it into a bucket. It twitched once, then went still. The next morning, I packed the wig in a nylon bag and decided to return it to Ada's family, no matter how insane it sounded. When I reached their compound in Iwaya, Titi opened the door, surprised. "Chioma, you came early." I need to give you something," I said, holding the nylon bag like it was poison. She frowned. "What is it?" I handed it to her. "Just please bury this. Don't open it." She stared at me, confused. "Chioma, what's going on?" Before I could answer, a sharp sound cracked through the house, something like glass shattering. Titi turned toward the sitting room. Her family's framed photo of Ada had fallen from the wall, its glass broken clean through the face. The same wig in the picture. And then we both heard it. Faint, but clear, from somewhere inside the house. Ada's laugh. I ran. I didn't stop running until I reached home. But when I entered my room breathless, I froze. The wig stand was upright again, and the mirror fogged, spelling one word. Mine.
The next morning, I knew I couldn't keep pretending. Something beyond me was happening, and it had Ada's name written all over it. I decided to go to church. The air that Sunday morning felt heavy, like rain was about to fall but refused to. The clouds hung low over Yaba, and even the usual Donfo drivers shouting at Ojweglaga seemed quieter. Maybe I was just hearing everything differently. Fear changes your ears. When I entered the church, I sat at the back. The worship team was singing, "You Are Great," and everyone around me had their hands raised. But my eyes kept drifting to the cross above the altar. I was hoping for peace. Instead, I felt watched. After service, I went straight to see Pastor Gloria, one of the prayer team leaders. She was a small woman with kind eyes but a firm voice, the kind of person you couldn't lie to. "Chioma, you look troubled," she said. I nodded, tears already threatening. "Ma, I think something is following me." She gestured for me to sit. "Tell me what happened." I told her everything. The wig, Ada's death, the mirror, the voice. She listened silently, occasionally closing her eyes as if searching for something unseen. When I finished, she sighed. "Chioma, this is deep. Sometimes the dead leave things unsettled. If that wig was part of Ada's final moment, it could carry her presence." My chest tightened. I tried to return it, but it came back. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Then it's no longer just a possession. It's a tie." That night I couldn't sleep again. Pastor Gloria had told me to read Psalm 91 aloud before bed. I did, 3 times. But around midnight, the mirror began to hum. It wasn't loud, just a faint vibration, like a whisper made of sound. I sat up slowly, clutching my Bible. The fog appeared again on the glass, thicker this time, and through it, Ada's face formed, pale, distant, sad. She mouthed the same word again. "Mine." I whispered, "Ada, what do you want?" For the first time, her voice came, faint, echoing, like it was coming from underwater. "It wasn't my fault." I froze. "What wasn't your fault?" The mirror cracked, a thin line, straight through her reflection. Then the fog vanished, and the room went silent again. The next day, I went back to Ada's cousin Titi, determined to dig deeper. She looked exhausted when she opened the door. "Titi, please, I need to know exactly what happened before Ada died." She sighed. "Chioma, I told you everything. She just collapsed at that party." "But something's not right. Did she fight with anyone? Was she acting strange?" Titi hesitated. "Well, actually, yes. 2 days before the party, she came home crying. She said someone from church accused her of something, said she took what wasn't hers." "What did she take?" "I don't know. She wouldn't say. Just that it was something beautiful." Beautiful. My heart skipped. The wig. Did she say who accused her? Titi frowned, thinking. "Somebody named Gloria." I froze. "Pastor Gloria?" Titi nodded slowly. "Yes, that's the name." I left the house trembling. Pastor Gloria, the same woman who had prayed for me. By the time I reached home, the clouds had gathered, thunder rumbling like an argument in the sky. I shut the windows and turned off the lights. I sat in silence, staring at the mirror. The reflection looked different now. The background seemed deeper, darker, like it wasn't showing my room anymore. Then I heard footsteps, soft, slow, coming from behind me. I turned sharply. Nothing. But in the mirror, Ada was standing behind me. "Stop," I whispered, my breath shaking. "Please." She raised her hand slowly and pointed to the floor. I followed her finger, and I saw it. A folded photograph lying near my bed, one I had never seen before. I picked it up. It was old, slightly burned at the edges. 3 people stood in it. Ada, a man I didn't recognize, and Pastor Gloria. The photograph wouldn't leave my mind. Even as I lay on my bed that night, its burnt edges seemed to glow faintly under the bedside lamp. Ada smiling wide, Pastor Gloria standing slightly behind her, and a man, tall, dark-skinned, wearing a white egbada and that kind of smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. I turned it over. On the back, written faintly in blue ink, were the words, "To New Beginnings, Iwaya, 2018. My hands trembled. That was 2 years before I even met Ada. I didn't know whether to confront Pastor Gloria or run as far away from her as possible. The next morning, I went to her office at the church. She was sitting behind her desk, reading a Bible, glasses perched on her nose. "Chioma," she said, smiling, "you didn't bring the wig yesterday." I placed the photo on her desk instead. "Who's this man?" Her expression changed instantly. For a moment, her eyes flicked up, sharp and wary. Then she composed herself. "Where did you get that?" I said, "From Ada, or from her ghost." Her lips tightened. "That's not possible." I said, "Then why are you afraid?" She looked down, sighed, and removed her glasses. "His name was Philip. He was a member of the deliverance team here years ago." I said, "What happened to him?" She said, "He died during a prayer session, and Ada was there." I leaned forward. "What do you mean, during a prayer session?" Her eyes met mine. It was supposed to be a cleansing. He'd been accused of using charms, mixing old ways with holy ones. Ada was part of that circle. She was close to him. My stomach knotted. Close how? She said, "Let's just say they shared things they shouldn't have, including that wig." I said, "What?" She nodded slowly. "That wig belonged to him first." I blinked, confused. "How can a man?" She said, "It wasn't always a wig, Chioma," she said softly. "It was made from something else, something ancient." She stood up and went to her cabinet, pulling out a dusty leather file. Inside were yellowed papers, photos, and old church reports. She opened to one page, a report dated May 2018. "Unusual object found during deliverance. Human hair weave tied with red thread, believed to be used as vessel in ritual binding." She said, "Philip used it for power. Ada kept it after his death. I told her to destroy it, but she refused. She said it made her beautiful, that people noticed her more when she wore it." I whispered, "And then she died." She nodded slowly, "Because she didn't let go." When I left the church that day, the air outside felt heavy, almost wet. Lagos traffic crawled like a living thing, horns blaring, Danfo conductors shouting, "Yaba, Yaba straight." But their voices sounded distant. All I could hear was my own pulse. I had been wearing a cursed wig. That night, I decided to end it. I went behind my building to the small patch of land near the broken fence, the one where people dump old charcoal and burnt refuse. I dug a shallow hole with a broken mock stick, dropped the nylon bag containing the wig inside, and poured kerosene over it. As I lit the match, wind blew sharply from nowhere. The flame went out. I tried again. Nothing. Then, faintly, I heard someone humming. Ada's voice. Behind me. I turned, heart hammering, and froze. She stood there, her eyes dull, her lips still moving with that same gentle hum she always used to sing while dressing up for church. "Chioma," she whispered, "why did you keep it from me?" My knees gave way. "Ada, I swear I didn't know." Tears blurred my vision. The smell of her perfume filled the air again, mixing with kerosene. She stepped closer. "You wore what didn't belong to you. You took my reflection. Now, give it back." I stumbled backward, trembling. "I'm trying to. Please take it." She shook her head slowly. "You already became it." The next thing I remember was waking up on my bed, morning sunlight spilling through the curtain. My hands were covered in ash. The nylon bag was gone. And on my dresser, the wig stand. The wig was back on it, perfect, shining. But this time, my reflection wasn't wearing it. Ada was. For 3 days, I didn't step outside. The mirror in my room had become an enemy. Every time I glanced at it, I saw something that didn't belong. When I smiled, the reflection hesitated, like it had forgotten how. When I blinked, it kept staring. I thought it was exhaustion, maybe stress. Legos can do that to you, make you question your own sanity. But on the third night, when the light went off and PHCN's usual darkness filled the room, I heard footsteps. Soft, measured, bare feet on cold tiles. My heart pounded. Who's there? Silence. Then a whisper. My name. Chioma. I jumped up, reached for my phone to switch on the torchlight, but before I could, I felt something brush my neck. A strand of hair. Cold. Damp. I turned. The wig was hanging on the chair where I'd thrown it, yet it was moving slightly, as if someone had just touched it. I wanted to run, but my legs refused. Then, in the faint moonlight leaking through the window, I saw a shape standing by the wall. A woman. Her head tilted. Her hair glistened. Ada? The figure didn't move. And then she smiled. The next morning, I went to see Pastor Gloria again, trembling and pale. She looked at me for a long time before speaking. You saw her, didn't you? I nodded. She's not gone. The wig, it's alive. Pastor Gloria sighed deeply. That wig is not hair, Chioma. It's a vessel, a container for something that feeds on attachment. Ada's spirit isn't haunting you because she hates you. It's because she can't leave what's hers. What do I do? I whispered. She reached for her drawer, brought out a small bottle of anointing oil, and placed it in my hand. Tonight, before midnight, you'll go back to where you tried to burn it. Dig up what's left, sprinkle this oil, and as you do, say her full name and release her. I swallowed hard. And if she shows up? Her eyes didn't waver. Don't run. Spirits feed on fear. That night, I prepared myself. The street behind my compound was quiet, except for distant generator hums and barking dogs. The moon was almost full. I knelt by the same spot, holding a flashlight in one hand and the oil in the other. My hands shook as I dug through the ash and sand. Then my fingers touched something soft. The wig, perfectly whole, not even burnt. I poured the oil over it, whispering, Ada Nwachukwu, I release you. You are free. Go in peace. The ground trembled slightly. The air thickened. And then I heard her, behind me. Peace? Her voice was deeper this time, like wind through metal. Where was peace when they buried me with my eyes open? I froze. She was standing a few feet away, her face flickering between beauty and decay. Chioma, she said softly, they lied to you. That thing you wear, it isn't mine. My heart skipped. Then whose is it? Her lips trembled. His. She pointed toward the darkness beyond the fence, and from that darkness, something moved. A tall shadow, wearing white. Philip. His face was hidden, but his voice was unmistakable, deep, calm, commanding. You tried to burn what doesn't die. That hair was consecrated with blood. It binds whoever touches it. I stumbled backwards. Why me? What did I do? You envied her, he said. You wanted her shine, her grace, her charm. You wore her crown. Now wear her curse. The ground beneath me split slightly, revealing a faint red glow. Ada screamed, her image twisting, fading like smoke. Stop, I cried. Take it! I don't want it! Philip's shadow stretched across the wall, touching my feet. My body went cold. I fell to my knees, gasping for breath. Then, Just before darkness swallowed me, I heard another voice. Pastor Gloria's. She was praying, loudly, powerfully. A flash of white light filled my eyes, and everything went silent. When I woke up, I was in her office again. The wig lay sealed inside a transparent jar, floating in some thick liquid. "It's over," she said softly. But I could see the truth in her eyes. It wasn't over, because faintly, through the glass, the wig moved. Just slightly, as if breathing. The first thing I noticed after that night was the silence. My apartment, once full of noise, distant horns, neighbor chatter, the hum of generators, now felt muffled, like I was living inside a dream. I stopped recognizing myself. Each morning I looked in the mirror and saw small changes. My skin looked slightly darker, my smile too familiar, not mine. And when I turned my head quickly, for a moment, I'd see Ada. Her reflection would flicker and vanish. I stopped going to work. I stopped answering calls. Even my mother's voice on the phone sounded far away. Something was pulling me into that mirror, into that reflection. One morning, I woke up to find the jar, the one Pastor Gloria had sealed, sitting on my table. I hadn't brought it home. Inside, the wig floated still, but it looked different now, longer, heavier, almost alive. And pressed against the glass, I saw fingerprints from the inside. I screamed. Within minutes, my door burst open, Pastor Gloria, sweating, out of breath, holding a Bible and that same bottle of oil. "I told you not to keep any mirror uncovered," she said, panting. "I didn't bring it here," I cried. "It followed me." She looked at me, eyes full of fear. "Not it, Chioma. Her. She's not after the wig anymore. She's after your body." That evening, she made me pack my things. We went straight to the church, a small branch near Yaba Market, where the walls were cracked and the air smelled of candle wax. 3 women were already waiting inside, kneeling, praying in tongues. They didn't look up when I entered. Pastor Gloria whispered, "Don't speak unless I tell you to. If she manifests, don't answer her." I nodded, trembling. The prayer began, low at first, then rising, echoing off the walls. The candles flickered, though no wind blew. And then, suddenly, I felt her. A cold rush swept through my body. My throat tightened. My hands moved without permission. "Stop!" I whispered. But my voice, it wasn't mine. It was Ada's. Her laughter filled the church, sharp and mocking. "You think prayers can send me away? This body is mine now." Pastor Gloria's voice cut through. "In the name of Jesus, release her!" The lights flickered. The floor trembled. I fell to my knees, screaming, my vision blurred, and suddenly I wasn't in the church anymore. I was back in the compound, but the world was twisted. Dark sky, red sand, trees moving without wind. Ada stood before me wearing the wig. Her face was calm now, sad even. "Do you know what really happened?" she asked softly. I shook my head. "They killed me because I refused to join them. The market women, the traders, they weren't just selling, they were taking from the living, offering to the dead, and I saw too much. Her eyes glistened with tears. I never wanted to hurt you, Chioma, but the moment you touched my hair, you opened the door. I reached out. Then close it, please. She smiled faintly. Only if you promise me one thing. What? Tell them what happened. I nodded. I will. She stepped closer, pressed her hand to my chest, and then she was gone. The wig fell to the ground, burning on its own, until nothing but ash remained. I woke up hours later on the church floor. Pastor Gloria was kneeling beside me, tears running down her face. "She's gone," she whispered. Outside, dawn was breaking. Lagos was waking up again. Car horns, roosters, generators. Life continued as if nothing had happened. But I knew better. I moved out of the compound that week. I stopped wearing wigs completely. And sometimes when I pass through Yaba Market, I catch a glimpse. A woman with familiar hair, walking away slowly into the crowd. She never turns back, but I know it's her. And every time I whisper a prayer, "Rest, Ada. Please, rest."
Thanks for watching. What has this story taught you? Drop your comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories.